Is it safe to assume that we didn't hear the music?
I heard it.
You did? Okay. Because I didn't, because that's the problem with the little technical difficulty we have here this week with the speaker. I did not hear the theme song. I'm glad everybody else did.
I
So
enjoyed it.
excellent. Thank you very much. Every week, just a little bit of glitch. And this week, you're on the left and I'm on the right. This is
I
getting
know.
weirder and weirder.
I'm the big
Yeah, you're like the
boss
big wig.
now.
Anyway, let's get with the proceedings. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday night, 8:02 p.m. And we are back, ready for another 100% live episode of The Yo Show.
Yo.
Yo. I am Jeff the Shark Perini, confused as always by technology. It gets the best of me once again. With me, as always, the co-hostess with the mostest, the sister from another mister, the lovely Jewel Tatey. Jewel, good evening.
Good evening, Jeff. How are we doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing terrible. Well, thank you for asking. Yeah, I don't know, man. I got this. Everybody says, get your technology together, pick up the pace, blah, blah, blah.
Now I hear us repeating.
Yeah, that's there. Okay, that's fixed. That's easy. But so yes, I got this sound card, and I plug the speakers into the sound card, and they don't work, and everything's great.
Okay.
All right, but we are here another Tuesday night. Now I hear me on your end.
My bad.
Okay, let's get this straight. Let's try it again. Should we start from the beginning? Anyway, it is Tuesday night. It is 8:03, another episode of the Yo Show. And Jewel, I got to tell you, sometimes the gods just answer your prayers and good things fall into your lap. We were scheduled tonight to be joined by Serene McIntosh. As you know, we had her brother Taylor on a few weeks ago. Got a message that Serene would not be able to attend. Or Sari, I'm sorry, not Serene, Sari. Like Larry, as she
We
says.
just had this conversation.
I know, right? Let's not have it again. So anyway, Sari McIntosh. So I go on a little bit of a hunt for a guest. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just wing it. Let's not worry about it. And then today, the great Sherry Nelson says, I have somebody for you. I love me some Sherry Nelson. And she knows that.
Sherry Nelson.
She's like, I have somebody amazing. How about Deborah Driggs? And I'm thinking, the names sound vaguely familiar. And then I started looking her up. I'm like, oh my God, like this, she was in like Playboy magazine, a couple of the episodes. She was an actress in TV. She has her own podcast that she's part of. She's an author. The list is a mile long. We'll talk about all of that with her. So our very special guest tonight is Miss Deborah Driggs. I thank her for coming on very last minute. Amazing, though. So many good things to talk about. Tiffany Mosher in the house. Yo, Jeff and Jewel. Good evening. Last week's guest, we thank you very much. Our birthday girl, Tiffany in the house. Bill Higgins, my man, with the big thumbs up. Thanks, Bill. Saw Bill this past weekend at the Guns N' Roses concert. He was there, and Jewel, he just had a lot of great things to say. He's like, I love the Yo Show. I love what you're doing. I love how you guys do the whole thing. I absolutely love it. And that was great, man. It's just absolutely awesome. So Deborah can be seen on Roger the Wild Child Show as well. That is the podcast that she's a co-host of, kind of like Jewel here and me doing our thing.
And they also have great guests. So
they have great guests. And of course, it's back to the whole family of like Jimmy Starr, and again, Sherry Nelson, that whole great group. We love them. We keep in touch with them. They do great things for us as well. Yes. So, so tonight is going to be an awesome show. I know I'm kind of scanning on the run here, which I do from time to time, just to look at some stuff here. Okay, so Bill Higgins, if you can, type in the name of your podcast, because I forgot it.
Oh, well, all that praise, and then you forget his.
I know, right? It's horrible like that. And we talked about maybe crossing over, us going on to his coming on ours, and that'd be pretty cool.
We love being guests on other people's podcasts.
We really do. We love that stuff. We always love promoting and cross-promoting and vice versa.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a great show tonight, Joe. I'm so excited. I'm actually a little fan geeked, a little nervous. because of the magnitude of our guest. I don't like to get this way. I don't like to admit it, but it happens every week.
I can tell because I know you at this point. But I mean, it's smooth as anything. But I know
Absolutely.
you.
So
Let's do it.
you can find Bill on the Never Quit podcast. Bill Higgins, everybody, the Never Quit podcast. And yeah, let's do it, man. Let's
Too
cross it
legit.
over. Too legit.
to quit.
I would also love to do a crossover,
Legit.
and I'd like to do a crossover and be on the Roger Wild podcast. Gotta be honest. I want to be on everybody's podcast. I want to be on everybody. If you have a podcast, me and Jewel are your people.
Mm-hmm.
Bring us on. Asim Malik in the house. My wife says hello. He is the one of the local runners of a big ketone group. You know, ketones, the drink, the energy drink, and the keto diet, and all that great stuff.
Oh.
My wife has gotten into it. Asim is into it, and we're actually trying to get Asim and the keto dad to come on our program. It'll be probably like a split segment show. We'll have it on like late at night in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for those guys. New friend of mine, good friend of my wife's, and they're big into keto, man. So thanks for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it.
Apologize for keto.
You should let Cassie talk to you about it. And like I said, we get Keto Dad and Seam on here. They'll talk
sure
to
she
you
will.
about it as well. Oh yeah,
Very convincing.
She's quite the salesperson. Sold me into marrying her. Jules, you notice I got a little preppy for tonight. I got a little maroon colored golf shirt on. Just want to be semi-classy for our guest.
Very nice.
I do what I can.
You
look lovely as always. You look terrific.
No, it's fine.
Women always look terrific.
At least I have my beautiful cat to block me.
There you go. Top 5 list time, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight, top 5 favorite miniseries or shows. I kind of laid out the top 5 before I realized who our guest was going to be, but it's not totally related, but we'll still make it happen. Top 5.
Okay. So this is like I'm stuck. This is like mini series.
It could be mini series, or it could be like a Netflix series or a cable series, something that's like has its seasons and kind of comes to a conclusion. Know what I mean?
Because I had one Netflix show that was supposed to be a mini series, so I hope that helps.
If it's not a
mini series.
If it's not a mini series, I'm not going to deduct points. I'm going to be fair tonight. I'm going to judge very fairly this evening.
Okay, because I did my research, so I was prepared.
Because mine are easy, and mine are actually kind of basic and very now. Number 5, of course, and maybe not mini series. I know you're going to get on me because every week I give out my first answer. You're like, that's not a mini series. We know what I mean. Show series anyway. Number 5, Handmaid's Tale.
That's not a mini series. It's a show based off of
show series, right? So,
but they were going to stop it. It gained so much popularity, so I feel you.
So I blew it a little bit. Handmaid's Tale is still number 5.
Off to a great start.
Number 4 is Boardwalk Empire.
Also not a mini series.
I know, not a mini. I guess mini series is the wrong word. I kind of want to say like, I don't know what I want to say, but you get the idea by now. Now, the next one was a mini-series, and one of my very favorites, Mayor of Easttown.
Ah, there you go.
Terrific. That's a mini-series.
Now you're on the right track.
So I blew it. Maybe I meant like seasons, series, cable. I don't know what the hell I meant. Anyway, Mayor of Easttown. Number 3, of course, we had the amazing Connie Giordano on our program.
Yes.
Not too long ago. Number 2, in the theme of me destroying this, is Shameless. Not a mini-series.
Number 1, Seinfeld.
No, see, that's a sitcom. Number 1 series, mini-series, seasonal series, cable series, Netflix series. I don't know what the hell to call it. The one and only Breaking Bad.
Oh, my God.
Please get my list out of here because apparently I blew this wide open. Joel Katie, save us!
All right, people. I'm going to give you actual mini-series. Number 5. This was one season, but whoa, it was a mini series, a limited series. But The Night Of on HBO, this was probably, I swear, this like got me into true crime shows because this came out a few years ago. Riz Ahmed, this was like his first breakout role. I'm like, that guy is a phenomenal actor. And John Turturro is like his lawyer.
I love that dude.
He's so good. And the end was so shocking. So I recommend.
Shocking.
Number 4, Mayor of Easttown, of course. Delco Pride. I'm not from Delco, but
the mayor.
They're our neighbors. So yeah, of course, Connie Giordano was amazing. But it gained so much popularity, it's probably going to have a season 2 as Connie gave us that little insight. Okay, so that could be my number 2. And number 3 is Maniac on Netflix, which was just one season, but it was Emma Stone and Jonah Hill and Justin Theroux, and they went through all these time periods, like it's dystopian, futuristic craziness, and they go into these like pods and live people's lives. It's pretty nuts, but they end up.
You love that Justin Theroux, don't you? You just like saying his name.
I love him.
I like saying Nachos.
Nachos.
It's my favorite name.
I saw Jonah Hill at Penn State, and I saw Justin Theroux in New York, so love those two. Number 2 is the only one that's not a miniseries, but every episode's different, and it's like kind of just all over the place. So I have to say Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. I should have wrote that down because I knew it was coming.
It's so good. Like, you don't want to watch, but you just have to keep watching. And every episode just makes you more and more depressed. But you're like, this is a crazy ass show. So I have to keep watching.
Not to cut you off, but speaking of Black Mirror, next week, of course, Madeline Zima.
Oh my God. I can't wait. I'm so excited for her to come on. Oh my God. I can't believe we're in August already. And number 1, it was a limited miniseries to begin with, but again, gained so much popularity. They made a season 2 because it was based off a book, but Big Little Lies, stellar cast. The story was so good. I love everyone in that show. Did you watch that?
Actually, yes, I did. Not bad. Like I said, my wife gets me into some of these, and I've told the story a million times. I walk by the TV. I'm like, what is this? And I sit down. Next thing you know, I'm like, shh.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. And then I'm stuck.
Whew. You know, I was watching that stupid Manifest, and then they canceled it. But now people are like, well, what's happening? Because it's like Lost with the plane. Like, you don't know what happened to these people. So people are like up in arms, like trying to find out what happened. So I think they're coming out with another season.
That's awesome. I like that.
I like that. I hate when they cancel seasons after one season, shows after one season, and then you never find out what happened.
I mean,
at least tell us what the plan was.
She was watching. I had to break the news to her that it was canceled. That didn't work very well. But
I know. I was like right in the middle of the season. That's why I don't watch these things.
So you keep banging on that. 8:15. Deborah Driggs in about 15 minutes. Can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm going to start like improving, stuttering over my words. It's going to be one of those nights.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah, I'm kind of hyper until I had a couple coffees a day.
This past weekend, this Saturday, Jewel, the wife and I took a trip up to Hershey, Pennsylvania. Spent the weekend, started out at Trogues Brewery. Hats off to the guys at Trogues Brewery for an amazing job. Great beer, great food. We had an excellent time. Then we made our way to Hershey Park. We did a little bit of water rides, the lazy river. You know, nice lazy river. Waited in line for an hour to do it twice, and we had to leave the park. But anyway, the highlight of Saturday evening, the one and only Guns N' Roses.
Whoa.
Jewel, I got to tell you. Now, there's mixed reviews because people are like, man, it didn't sound the same. It wasn't quite the same. Wasn't as good. You got to realize these guys, like Axl Rose is 59 years old.
So?
You know? Well, his voice isn't quite the same. Like, give him a break.
Whatever. I saw Frankie Valli when he was like 80 and he sounded terrific. So don't give me that. He just did a lot less drugs.
I was going to say, I can't imagine Frankie Valli doing hard drugs and liquor. Now, the opening act, I know I still have the banner up. The opening act, Jewel, was the incredible new band that I love, Wolfgang Van Halen and his band Mammoth. Picture there. Excuse me. Mammoth was outstanding. I really enjoyed the set. All the songs I really enjoyed.
I heard they played for like a long time too, right?
They did. Mammoth played, for about an hour, which for a leading band was pretty good. Now, Guns N' Roses, again, that's the band there. Probably played over maybe 2.5 hours. I'm still a fan. But what they did to kind of ease...
2 hours, that's it?
A little more than 2 hours. 2.5 maybe. To ease the strain on Axl's voice, there was a lot of guitar playing, a lot of bass, a lot of instrumentals, before songs and in between songs and all that. And I get it, But I liked it. I had a great time. I'm a huge Guns fan. I recommend it. If you're going to say, like, oh, Axl didn't sound the same as it did like 30 years ago, it's like 30 years ago.
Did you see when he brought Pink on? They sang "Don't Cry."
No.
That's what he
pretty
needs to do. Just bring in people.
There you
Like
go.
Dave Chappelle. I think he's out there touring.
Yeah. He is now on tour. There's his performance with Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
Yeah,
interesting.
Hank and Axel. Oh my God, that was Fred.
I liked it though. I loved the show. I thought it was terrific. That's me. I'm a
And you've
huge
seen him before, right?
right, and I'm a huge Guns fan. So
Mhm.
no matter what you said or what was done, I was gonna love it. I love Mammoth. The arena is kind of old fashioned, very crowded. Uh,
Open.
yeah, open, kind of weird. Like you got a better chance of hitting the lottery than getting a beer by the time you wait. My wife went and got a beer for us with about a half hour left in the show, maybe.
Oh
And
man.
we had one. I didn't really need it. Didn't really want it. I said I had like two at Trogs. I wasn't really looking to get plastered. Just want to have a good time and
Yeah,
enjoy
it's
some
nice to
music.
have one just to like enjoy. Because I saw Bush and Live, and first of all, like a pounder was $20. I'm like,
Right.
oh, good, you know. But yeah, I saw Bruce at that Hershey Stadium, and it was, I don't know, people like the acoustics. I mean, I like that people could dance in the aisles, but it was good. I wish I was closer. I was so far back. Like if you're down on the floor and really far back, it's like, okay.
Yeah,
But
those tickets were out there, and I was like, no way. So we actually sat in the first row of the second level, and
okay, at least
we had
you're up.
yeah, we had end seats too. So we were like right on course. We had excellent seats.
Mm,
So no complaint there. The wife had a good time. So fun was had by all. No complaints.
good. I'm glad
But
you
I'm a
guys
fan.
had fun.
And then like people are like, I didn't like this. No, I didn't like that. Like, come on. Hey, break.
Yeah, you gotta cut him some slack. At least he showed up.
Yeah, he's kind of new and improved actor. He shows up. He called us his fellow pandemic prisoners or something like that.
Oh,
And
very axle of him.
he was coming out a lot like Roy preaching like welcome back out and glad to see everybody back out. And I'm like, all right, Axel, it's been a couple months now. We've been kind of roaming around, but thanks. God.
Good job, Axel. Now you shut us all down again.
I know, right, Axel? I think I got re-COVIDed just from being out there. I want to talk also about this weekend, Joel, because, I'd love to promote local places without getting any kickback or anything like that. Although kickback would be nice someday soon. But this past Friday night, and it was so good I did it again on Sunday, we tried the pizza at Cafe Carmela. Now, have you been to Cafe Carmela yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dynamite grub. They've got a pizza called, that was it. Thank you, Asim. Political Pandemic Prisoners was his exact words. Excellent. Well done. We had the Prove pizza, which is sharp provolone on the bottom and the sauce on the top. And I got to tell you, man, I have loved everything I've gotten from Cafe Carmela.
Oh, yeah.
This blew it away. Me and the wife went Friday night, sat in there and ate. She had the truffle fries. I had meatballs. Their meatballs are phenomenal.
Truffle fries, like the mushroom on the.
No, like the oil, the truffle oil.
Oh, it's. Whoa.
Oh, I'm
I
telling
gotta
you.
go.
And their meatballs are about as close to an Italian style like my dad made as I could possibly get. Phenomenal. And we loved it so good. So we got home Sunday from Hershey, and she's like, I'm not in the mood to go anywhere. I'm like, how about pizza from Cafe Carmela? So we did a half and half. She got the margarita, and I got the Prove. Again, phenomenal.
Very nice. That's awesome. I had a interesting weekend.
We're all ears. We got about 10 minutes before Deborah Driggs, so lay it on us.
I had to drive my nephew to the ER Saturday and Sunday for 2 different related.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. And then Friday and then Saturday. And then Sunday, there was this like baby rabbit. And I know they're all over in the neighborhood, but like it was really the flood, like the rains and the hurricane and the tornado and everything. It flooded the little nest that the mom made. So the rabbit kept coming up to my sister's door and sitting there, and we were checking on it. And I did see the mom one day, but we left it for a couple days. And on like the 4th day, I'm like, all right, this this dude isn't eating. He's not looking well.
Oh,
So I had to drive all the way up to this wildlife rescue. It's all the way up in like Upper Chalfont.
wow.
They have an excellent wildlife rescue up there. It's called ARC, and I brought the little bunny up because he had an infection, it turns out.
Oh.
So the mom wasn't going to take him, but they took care of him, and I don't know. I saved lives this weekend. That's what I did.
How about that? Yeah, apparently, it sounds like you saved 3 already. Which is
My poor nephew. He went into like anaphylactic shock the one day, and then the dogs were fighting. He got bit. Terrible.
Jesus.
And then the dog had to go to the vet. It wasn't my dog, but stressful.
That's eventful.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we did. And the wife was a little upset. You pay $60. Well, she got like a discount rate online. So you paid $60 a person to go to Hershey Park. And by the time we got there, it was around 2 o'clock. And I said, as long as we leave the park by like 4:30, we'll get back to the hotel, check in, get shower, dressed, go back to the concert. So we waited in line. It was like a 20-minute walk to the water park from where we entered. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two was like a 20-minute walk to the tram car. So it's already like 40 minutes in. Then we waited in line like an hour. We did 2 laps around on the lazy river, and it was time to go back.
Oh man, I love Hershey Park. Their roller coasters are so much fun.
They are. We didn't get to do much. It was just like it was so crowded. But the one thing we did do was very smart. We decided to Uber to the stadium, the arena, because everybody was parking miles out and walking, and I had enough walking by then. So I'm like, I don't care what it costs. Let's Lyft, let's Uber, let's not drive. And it turned out well both times. We got
I know, and you walk all that time, and you're like, then you don't even want to hang out. You're like, all right, I'm tired.
Right?
Sheesh. Oh, I also went to a Hello Kitty cafe.
I saw the pictures. Very cool.
Hey, they have this Hello Kitty cafe, the big ones in LA. And I promised Joey, I'm like, yo, when we're out there, I'll take you to this Hello Kitty cafe. Come to find out, you have to like spend $75 per person to get into this, just to take some like Instagram photos. It was ridiculous. So they have this food truck that tours all over. But the one time it was on the East Coast was Saturday. I'm like, I'll make sure you go to that truck since you missed your. Wow. She loves some Hello Kitty.
$75.
Yeah, on like sugary snacks and drinks.
I'm right for that though. I can live with that. So, the best part about the Hershey Park experience was we got back around midnight. And we both decided, we're a little munchies. We hadn't eaten since Trogs at noon because you can't eat in the stadium because it's just so damn long of a line. So we ordered Uber Eats from McDonald's at 12 o'clock. It arrived at 2:30 a.m. We were both sound asleep. I, for some unknown reason, decided to wake up at 2:30. I turned to her and said, what happened? And she said, I don't know. And I looked at the door and there was this sitting there.
Oh my God.
I don't have to tell you how delicious it was. It was a 24-hour McDonald's. I should have just got in my car and drove.
That's really crazy. Yeah. I did that in Nashville. I like ordered food and then I fell asleep. The guy's like blowing up my phone. I'm like, dude, I'm sleeping. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. You took forever.
Yeah, so she after like an hour, she's like, no driver picked it up. I'm going to cancel. They would charge you $21 to cancel.
Wow. So see, at least with Uber Eats, you tip them and all beforehand, so no big deal, right?
You would think ice cold French fries, warm soda, and an unusually fairly lukewarm quarter pounder after 2 hours, which worries me a little bit.
Yo, question.
Yes.
Why do Uber drivers and DoorDash drivers and all these drivers have weird numbers? Like 660 area code.
Right? I thought it was just me.
No. Is that like a privacy thing?
I felt kind of bad. The Uber driver that got us out of the concert was fairly nice. The guy that drove us there said, look, go to Chocolate World, stand under the overhang. That's where they always know to pick you up. So The nighttime guy calls and says, "Yes, I'm out here." Out where? You can see me. I'm out smoking a cigarette.
He's like, go get me an everlasting gobstopper.
We're like, where? I'm out here by the arena. Okay, there's only 8,000 cars and about 20,000 people. Luckily, he finally, because my wife's like, we're at Chocolate World at the overhang, and luckily he knew where that was. He eventually drove over. But yeah, I'm so out of sort tonight. You look like you're real tall. I look like I'm real short. I'm on the wrong side.
I'm in the driver's seat. This is
You
my
are.
show tonight.
This is
Look,
weird.
I can end this broadcast at any time. I just saw the button.
So can I. I got it right here too. We both have it.
Wow.
I just feel very.
That's some power right there.
That is some power. I feel just so out of place. And of course, the weirdness of the count. The count goes all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. So we know a lot of people are watching. We appreciate it. I apologize for audio incidents. I'm getting a new sound card, Jewel. I'm getting one that plays sound effects and all. I've had enough with this little cheapy one. I got a cheapy one. It makes the music sound a little bit better, but
blame me for that. It's fine.
Blame me. Let's get down to the business at hand. Again, we are super thrilled to be joined by our guest and very lucky because it was kind of a last-minute replacement. But in looking at the list of what she has done and what she does now is just absolutely amazing. So a lot to talk about. An amazing guest, former model and Playboy Playmate. She's also now a bigwig in the insurance field, actress, author of a book with another book coming out. So many great things to talk about. Let me welcome our very special guest, Miss Deborah Driggs, to the program.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I could not be better. From the bottom of my heart, thank you 1,000,000% for actually agreeing to do this on the spot, which is incredible. Like I said, Jewel, we met maybe about 2:00 this afternoon via Facebook. And, I'm cramming. I sent it to Jewel.
I was at the dentist.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh. We really appreciate you.
I was at the dentist. I get this. And I'm thinking, okay, well, it's 1:00 now. Let's see. I got to do that. Can I be home by this time? And I said, okay, I'll email you when I get back to my desk. But yeah, I'm glad it worked out. And I love Sherry. She's such a sweetheart. So
she's the best.
The minute you said her name, I was like, of course I'll do it.
She said, mention my name. And I know Sherry's name's got clout. And
yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart.
She's always very helpful to us. And she said to say hello, which of course we will. And we'll plug the article that she'll read a little bit later as well. Down the bottom, I'm scrolling some of the things you got going on in the new book, of course, and where people can find you and your websites and your show and just there's so much. So
yeah, I kind of do what you're doing on Sunday night. So I do a live podcast called Roger the Wild Child Show, and it was so beautiful how it worked out. I was a guest on the show. And then Roger had put out something about, I'm looking for a co-host. And I was like, hey, what about me? He was like, really? Okay. And what's really cool is that, I think in life, when you stay in line and you just keep doing what you're doing, things just work out. Like you said, you never know what's going to happen, especially in this business. And so, I think our show has really taken a turn now, and we're interviewing like rock legends, and it's just, for me, it's just been so much gratitude being able to do that, because what a gift, it's like it just was handed over to me, and it's like now I'm interviewing and getting such beautiful history about people that I've always admired for so many years, and now they're on the show, and it's like, how did that happen? It's just so beautiful. So anyway, so I have to always pay it forward. So when you reached out today, I was like, of course I have to. This is a sign. Like, it's like, that's how we do this. We keep paying it forward. So that's a beautiful story. Excellent.
And like we have said, it's really, it's a community. a lot of people think it's a competition. Like, oh, everybody wants their show to be heard, and
No,
everybody.
yeah.
But it's a great community, meet great people, and I know some of the people that you're linked to with Sherry. Some of the legends like Jimmy Starr, who has been fantastic to us. He introduced us to this StreamYard format, and to some amazing guests that he's worked us with, and he introduced us to Sherry, who introduces us to you. So yeah, it's a great cycle. It works out perfectly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you learn, I'll learn little things from being on this show. And I continue to guest on other people's podcasts for business or for my book or for acting or whatever. And so, yeah, I just learn, like, I'll go back to my team and go, hey, I was on the show and they did this and it worked really well. And so you just learn from each other. And it's such a beautiful format because, I think we all figured this out during the pandemic, is that
Yes.
we were all just kind of cooped up and you couldn't go see movies, you couldn't go to concerts. And so what a great way to like connect with people. I have connected with people all over the world just by doing this.
Yeah,
To me, that's a
real
gift.
time.
Yeah.
in real time. And you're a people person, as I've seen in your interviews and everything. And that's great that you picked up little bits and pieces, because I mean, even me, I never thought I would be asked to be a guest on someone else's podcast, but it really is. I love it. I wanted to go into radio in college, but podcasting is just, I don't know. It's like on your terms. And as you said, you can like fix it to where you want it to be and be comfortable with it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, what a beautiful thing. Like you said, we're live. I have done podcasts live with the host being in India.
Wow.
And I thought, how did I end up on a podcast in India? And then, it's like when you sit and really kind of take it in, it's like, that's the world we live in today. I could be anywhere in the world just sitting right here in my home doing a show.
Looks like you're in Hollywood.
I'm in Hollywood. I'm in Hollywood / Santa Monica.
There you go.
nice. I just saw that sign in person for myself 2 weeks ago for the first time.
Oh yeah, did you hike up? Did you hike up?
We did, no, we parked at the top, but it was very cool. Like, we saw some music videos being shot right there, and I've never been to California or anywhere on the West Coast, so it was just wild to see everything. Very cool.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
And the weather was great.
Well, yeah. It's what keeps me here. It's the only thing left that keeps me here. Let me tell you, I'm born and raised, and sometimes I take it for granted because people like you will say, oh, I just went for the first time. And I'm like, my God, that's so crazy, because I've lived here my whole life. Where are you guys coming? I know you're in Pennsylvania. Jeff, where are you coming in from?
We're neighbors.
Okay. So you're both
fairly close.
Yeah, with in Philly, but different suburbs, but we're all in the same general area.
Okay.
It kind of came on a whim. A friend of a friend introduced me to Jewel. I did the same thing. I put on Facebook, I need a co-host. I want to go female when I took the show over, and had a few. And she said, look, do me a favor, interview Jewel. And I loved it right off the bat. So we've really hit it off, and it's been great.
It's amazing.
I kind of got you on the show by reading a little bit of your motivation, and don't take no for an answer. So when Sherry said ask her, I'm like, I'm going to ask her, and I'm going to try and not take no for an answer. That's kind of how we ended up. I'm like, I'm asking. I know it's late, but I'm still going to ask, and the worst you could say is no. And if you say no, I'm not going to take it for an answer.
Well, and by the way, so what my quote is, it's no means maybe. And so, I grew up in the entertainment business. I started in 1983 in commercials and modeling, and you learn to have a tough skin, thick skin,
Sure.
and take rejection really well. And so when I went into the business world, it's a different type of rejection. And I would, say one of two things. I would say, well, no means maybe, because people have to really think about it. Well, in business, it's totally different. Where in the entertainment, they're making decisions pretty rapidly. And so, and then the other thing I would always say is next, because, you put your heart and soul into something, and I work on commission. And so, when things didn't work out, I would try not to think about, oh my God, if I land this deal, it's really hard not to think about, the outcome of it. But I would just think, just stay in the moment and keep focusing on the clients that you're trying to get, that you're trying to add value to. And when they didn't work out, I would just say next, and not let myself go, oh my God, I can't believe, I put all that, just wouldn't allow it. And then the no means maybe. I just remember I was on the phone and I was really trying to start this insurance business. And this was back in 2010 when I really jumped in head first. And I called everybody. And I called this person who used to be the head of Warner Brothers. And I thought, if I get him as a client, I know that he knows everybody and he'll open the floodgates. And that's really how I built my business. 80% of my clients are in the entertainment business because that was my background. Yeah. But when he just kept saying no. He just kept saying no. He just kept saying no. And I just kept writing on my notes, maybe. And, there's a way of being persistent and not being, pushy or, but anybody that does sales knows that you're going to talk to 100 people and maybe get 2 clients.
Yes.
And that's just the numbers game with sales. And that's why most people drop out, because it's so much work and the money really doesn't show up until much later. So that's where no means maybe comes from. And I am kind of a yes man, that's why when you asked me, I was like, okay, I got to think about, really, the right thing to do would be to say yes. Cause I'm that way too. I'm a hustler and I want people to come on our show. And
sure.
And so, I think what you put out is what you're going to give,
Exactly. Yeah.
What you're going to get. I meant
Right,
what you put out is what you're going to get.
And so I guess we should go back to the beginning and then work our way.
Sure. Right? I've got a lot of time. What about you? We can go all the way back.
Yeah.
Yes,
but
I grew up in Southern California. I aspired to be a figure skater. I was on the ice every day, at 4 a.m. before and after school for many years. And when I turned 14, my parents got divorced. And we didn't have a lot of money. And I was barely, I was like the poor ice skater because it's kind of a rich girl sport, really. Yeah. And so I was the poor ice skater. And when they got divorced, that was it. There was no more money because now 2 people had to go and survive on their own. And so about 14 and a half, I stopped skating. And that was a big blow because that was my whole identity. I was an athlete and I really wanted to go to the Olympics and be Dorothy Hamill. And, that was my vision. And so now I had no vision and I had no purpose, and it was just like kind of gone. And so it made sense that I ended up in the entertainment world because my first addiction in life was attention. I was always after attention from a young
Guilty.
young kid. I'd run around in go-go boots and put on shows and dance for everybody. And I just always wanted to be on stage and dancing and singing and doing shows. And so no accident that I ended up in a business that's what I did, and I did really well in commercials because that's what commercials are. The most it's kind of opposite of when you read for a part, because commercials are like anything goes. They want to see extremes. And so I did really well in commercials. And then once I started doing well with that, I was like, oh, well, I want to be an actress. I want to act too. And so it just one thing kept leading to another. And so I had been in the business for a while before Playboy even came around. And I didn't really know much about Playboy. And so when my agent called me and said they are coming out with a new book and they want you for the cover, I was like, Playboy magazine? And I was like, the building on Sunset? They were like, yeah, that's where the audition is. It was like, back then it was a famous building on Sunset with a big bunny on it. And so I went, and I didn't think the audition went that well. And I really didn't see myself as a sexy Playboy playmate type of person. And so however you want to put it. I was a young girl, and I just thought it was cool that I got to go to the building and go to the audition, but I didn't see the whole thing play out. And then when I got the call that they wanted to test me to be a playmate, I was like, what? Me? Are you sure? I think they're confusing me with another girl at the audition, and that's really how I felt, but then
what is the audition? What do they do? They just have you basically model, or do they get right to it and say, hey, let's see?
No, the audition that I went on was they have a book now. It's called the Lingerie Book. It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
And so I went for the audition for the cover of that book. And so I remember saying, well, there's no nudity, right? And she's like, I don't think so. It's for the cover. So when I got to the Playboy building, I sign in. This is 1989, much different world. And they said, when we call your name, you're going to go in the back and put on a robe, and then they'll do a Polaroid. And I said, well, why do I need to put on a robe? And she said, because we need to see your body. And I said, oh, well, I didn't bring a bikini, because that's what you would do for a bikini shoot, if they want to see your body. And she's like, oh, it's okay. You can just take everything off and put on the robe. Like, it was no big deal.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. So I go in that room and I change, but I leave my undergarments on. And I go out to do the Polaroid and take off the robe, and I have my undergarments. And the photographer's like, well, we need to see your body. And I said, oh, no, I'm not here for that. I'm here for the cover of the thing, the da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, yeah, okay. So they do the Polaroid. I leave. Right. So I don't think it goes well at all because I'm like not getting it.
Yeah.
And I get a call that afternoon. We want to test you to be a centerfold. And I said, I think you're confusing me with another girl. And they said, no, this is true. And then I called my agent. I'm like, what is going on? And so, yeah, that's how that happened. And, we talked about it because at that time I was doing a lot of catalog work for Fedco and Macy's. And, I was doing swimsuit, but nothing revealing. And so I had all these kind of built-in clients that I'd been working for now. And I was a model on a show called The Fashion Channel. This was the very first shopping network. It was called The Fashion Channel before QVC, before Home Shopping. And I was a model on that show. And they just said, well, worst things worse, you'll probably get fired from the fashion show, once they find out that you pose nude. That's how it was a big deal. These were the conversations we were having, where today it'd be like, nobody cares.
Right.
But back then we were having these serious conversations about, which clients would probably say, that's it,
Yeah,
and
now Playboy's so revered. It's just like that milestone, like Playboy.
Well, yeah, but now you can see more on social media. Playboy's name. Like,
pretty close.
Playboy
Yeah.
But
the thing about Playboy was it was just so like well done, and Hef had input on everything that was written. Like the first time I looked at a Playboy, I'm like, this is all articles. Like it's
tasteful pictures. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
It's so true.
Entertaining, like it's good articles, but so I guess he had to have that last word that you are going to be centerfold or going to be cover. Like
every article, every girl, every I don't care what ad, anything that touched that magazine, Hef approved.
Wow.
He had hands on everything. And so, yes, absolutely. And also in 1989, and I think about this a lot now because it's very, I didn't think too much of it at the time, but today it's very relevant that Playboy was the #1 magazine in the world. And, at the time I kind of took that for granted, and I didn't really think about the impact that would have on my life years later, but it was huge. And, back then you had to buy, if you wanted to see the magazine, you had to buy it. There was no Google, there was no internet. You couldn't Google the girl, and then once everything went digital and everything went online and you could Google anything you wanted, it lost its numbers.
Well, your cover specifically had someone pretty notable on it. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a collector's item now.
Yes.
Donald Trump, Mr. President, is on the cover of my issue. And this is the funniest part is the girl that's on the cover with Donald, everybody thinks it's me.
I thought it was you. I did.
Everybody thinks it's me. And it's okay. So now when people go, oh yeah, I saw you on the cover with Donald, I'll go, oh, thanks. Yeah. I don't even like change the thought, because the girl that's on the cover was giving them away on eBay. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him. She had,
right.
you know, and so she was like selling them off, and she doesn't want anybody to even. So I was like, oh yeah, it's me, because she doesn't care. So
I had
kind of a little insight.
I had to kind of research it to find out it wasn't you, because around 1989, I was, I guess, 18 years old. So you were finally old enough to buy the magazines. Of course, you get intrigued to see them and read them. And I remember him on the cover, and again, thought it was you. And I remember it vividly. I'm like, now I got to research. I'm like, that's not her on the cover. But we spoke to a couple of former Playboy girls before, and one was Erica Eleniak. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
Of course,
great
I know
actress.
Erica.
And she was on our show before, lovely. But she said all the roles that started coming in after that was like, all right, get naked. Was that the way it was with Hollywood? Did they start coming in and they said, well, we want you to be naked in movies? Because she said that was all she was getting in the beginning.
Yeah, which is really interesting for me, because I'm not really that girl. And so everybody was like, oh, she's a playmate. Oh, well, let's bring her in for this. The girl that takes off her clothes, or it has a love scene with the star, or is a stripper. I got called in for every stripper role. And I thought, really? Because I'm really not that. I was kind of awkward, really, to be honest with you. At 25 years old, when I look back, I wasn't really into myself yet. I didn't really know what I liked, or I was kind of a tomboy. And so to get called in for all those roles was so interesting to me, how I got so typecast. But what's interesting is that I was really persistent, and I ended up doing a lot of pilots that had nothing to do with that, and that, were really more about comedic timing. And I did a great show called Nightstand, where I played a mom, and then, I worked really hard to kind of back away from that. I just worked on a film a month ago called Neon Bleed that'll come out next year.
Awesome.
And so where I play a mom. And so now it's like, I feel like I'm in a different space. I'm way more comfortable in my skin than I was in my 20s. And I have a much better idea of, how I would cast myself. And that's the other thing too, when you have representation, it's your job as a talent to kind of help guide your career, and it's a business. So if you're not guiding them on how you think you should be sent out, and how you should be portrayed, and what films you should be going for, and how, it was my job to help convince what I thought I could be doing and what I was capable of. And so, that just comes with maturity. And so towards the end of my acting, that's kind of where I was getting to. It was like, oh no, I could do that role. Where when I first started, it was like I was just going out for anything. And, I needed to work too. Also, I needed to make money. I was just watching a very interesting documentary a couple nights ago that Gina Davis did. I think it's called This Is Everything. And it's really about the roles for women in Hollywood, and and it took me back to the early 90s. It really did. It took me back, because I thought, wow, that was kind of my experience. Was like, you'd walk in and you'd have producers or directors say, oh, well, come here. Let me tell you about it. Come sit on my lap, or, and you would think, do they do that with the guys, when they come in? Like, why are women like, why was that the standard, And I had a lot of experiences like that, where I was actually told by a couple of very famous producers, if you are willing to go to this extent, I am in a position to make you a star. Wow. And I thought, no, I'm not willing to do that.
And I'm just glad all these people are coming to
I could just feel like how that would make me feel years later, thinking that I had to sell my soul or pull out knee pads to get apart. And I thought, no, I'd rather do the B movie where I sleep with Martin Hewitt than give the producer, that satisfaction. So
Yeah.
It's so crazy for women in Hollywood, and the age thing too. Like, you have women who could date their sons on screen. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah.
But after you realize, like, okay, I'm going to pick my part. Like, what was your favorite part to play?
I like doing comedy. So I like it when I can be very unscripted and improvise. And I love when directors are really willing to take that risk of like, okay, well, if you mess up the lines, just, keep going. I love that. And it's really hard for me when people really want me to stay scripted. So I found that out about myself. I didn't really know that until I started auditioning for comedic parts and pilots and things. And I thought, oh, this is kind of found my. And then when I hosted a show for Playboy called Hot Rocks.
Yes.
And I was able to, they totally loved when I'd go off script and just act goofy and, just kind of be myself. They wanted it sexy, but I was very playful with it. And I think working on Nightstand was probably one of the most fun I've had on a set. I mean, that was just all laughs. It was hard to stay in character because, with all that comedic energy around, it's you just want to laugh when they're doing. It's hard to stay in the moment when someone's doing something so funny and you can't laugh because so that was fun.
Yeah.
We kind of do it here. We get asked a lot, and I know you do podcasting as well. And people say, do you and Jewel sit down and write out a script and rehearse? I'm like, no, I type up some points and I text her during the day, and then we meet up here on Tuesday night or Wednesday night, depending on the season and what nights we do it. How do you guys approach it? Do you pretty much just wing it? Because we wing it. Everything here we have like a series of questions and a base, but we kind of just like being ourselves here. How do you guys work it on your program?
mean, we have that vibe, but I think we definitely do a lot of research on who we're interviewing.
Right, yeah, sure.
And we have a format. We have like, this is the first 5 minutes, this is the then we're going to do that, and then we bring on the guest, and then we wrap it up. We have that kind of a format, but most of it's unscripted. And there's a few surprise things, like, sometimes we'll have a surprise guest that nobody knows is coming, not even myself. So sometimes Roger will throw in a surprise guest if it's pertinent to the guests that we have on. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty similar. I think it's really, I know it's funny. It's kind of interesting because Roger, he really likes things to be very organized, and he's very, like, I want to use the word anal about our sound and our lighting and our microphones. And I mean, he would text me, say, you've got to get this microphone and you got to do this. And so if any of that goes wrong, you could just see it, like, and I just call him out on it every time.
Jeff was tonight.
Yeah, it's live. It's live. There's nothing you can do. You do all the preparation, and then you hope for the best. And if all of it could just fall apart, and then that's funny, and you just have to use it. You use it to your advantage if you can.
We've done it plenty of times.
Yeah.
Can't take it seriously.
Oh, exactly. And we do it. And I think people enjoy it more. And like I said before, we did just audio. I think the audio and the video adds to the quirky moments and the randoms because people see it and they see it in your face how genuine it is. So we like that.
Yeah.
I want to change course a little bit because I know you talked about figure skating and you want to be an Olympic competitor, and competing was always a thing for you. And I read that, the pressure of the competition got to you a little bit as well. And like I said, the family breakup when it came to skating. Of course, the Olympics, we had Simone Biles. Explain to me, if you can, the mental focus of being a competitor and then noticing, you're not quite right to compete, or you're not in the form to compete, and walk away. Because people are like, oh, I can't believe she did that. All this preparation in this, and she owes us and this and that. She doesn't know anybody. What's your outlook on that? Are you a firm believer in her decision? I mean, mental health is most important, in my opinion, to everybody.
Yeah, it's super important. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I I mean, I can, the thing with mental health is you can only relate it to your experience because I can't walk in her shoes and I don't know what she was feeling
Sure.
as she was going to prepare to compete in the Olympics. First of all, just getting to the fucking Olympics is huge.
Right.
Okay.
You can say that here. That's good.
Thank you. I mean, just getting to the Olympics is
Yeah.
major. So, that alone is, you could go to bed at night knowing you did something pretty freaking fantastic.
Sure.
So, but from my experience and I remember my first competition like it was yesterday because I was not prepared and my coach made me compete anyway.
Oh, wow.
And I come from the day, I come from the coaching. I had 3 coaches, Darlene Dyer, Doug Chapman, and Kathy Steele. I skated in Paramount at Iceland in California. And my coach, Doug Chapman, coached Diane DeLue, who got the silver medal. So you won't even know who she is, but she got the silver medal behind Dorothy Hamill.
Okay.
And so she skated at my rink. So I grew up in a time and skated in a time when there was a lot of yelling and harshness and nobody was like, oh, do you not feel like skating today?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just okay. Yeah,
wow.
you want to maybe just take the day off? All right.
So,
it was like, get your ass full volume on the ice. And we were all like just fucking crying and scared. And that's how it was. And I'm you can't sugarcoat it, but that's how it was. It was relentless. If you wanted it, get out there and get it. I remember skating with 103 temperature and ending up in the hospital with spinal meningitis because I was so sick and sweating. And I'd come to the side of the rink and I would say, I don't feel so good. And everybody's like, get back out there. So that's where this all starts, right? I mean, that's my experience. I'm not saying that's hers, but my first competition, I didn't want to compete. I was so scared. And I went out there and I fell on every jump and it was just a big disaster. And I came off the ice like in a daze. Like I came off like, I can't believe that just happened in front of all these people. And I was young. I was a little kid. I was like 8 or 9 at my first competition. And I was hysterically crying. And my coach yanked me into the bathroom and told me there will be no crying. Like there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in ice skating either. And so that's how it was. And so, I became one of those people that would be like, the minute you felt yourself getting like, oh my God, you would just hold it in. And so it took me a long time to realize that was causing trauma.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it at the time. And by the way, I didn't know it till many years later that had some type of trauma effect on my life. I was having a hard enough time as it was at home. And then you go to the rink and then you get yelled out there and your identity is just all wrapped around how you perform and how you behave on the ice. And so, yeah, I can see it, when I watch, and I'm only giving a little version, a little opinion. My little opinion just means it's like a little granular of sand from my experience. But yeah, I feel for those athletes, and I really feel for the female gymnast. I feel so much for them. I'm really into documentaries. So I watched
Athlete A. I just watched it today. Oh,
it's so sad.
It was terrible.
And you watch these documentaries and you wonder how anybody could even perform or even compete or even live under those circumstances. And and that's the thing. Who knows what happened to her prior to the Olympics? Who knows, what relationship she has with her coach? We don't know all the details. And I think it's really, really in any walk of life, whether it's sports, entertainment, business. I don't care if you're a nun. Whatever you're doing in life, you have to protect yourself first at all times, because otherwise it's too it's really hard to handle all that pressure.
Yeah.
And you go from that caliber of ice skating to the entertainment industry, which is just as nitpicky and like consuming.
So you can see how, you know, at a young age, how I see the world. I'm encapsulated in this, you know, I Love Lucy, the Partridge Family, the Brady Bunch. It's all fantasy. It's all nonsense. And then I go to the rink and people are yelling and screaming and there's a lot of things going on there. And then I see competition and I'm seeing all these things that really my age is too young to see. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
any of these young kids that start out in these extreme, not extreme sports, but they start out extreme, like I want to go to the Olympics. And so some are getting homeschooled now. They have no childhood. They just go right into it. And for some it works, but for some it's just, they go right into what the brain is not ready for. And the brain is not ready for certain things at the age of 8 or 9 or 10. And so I just watched something today, and, you know, I try very hard to stay away from TV or any, you know, I try, you know, it's one of the things I have to practice because I try to keep my mind very clear of things. But I saw something with Jim Carrey where he was describing the word depressed. And it's like your body needs rest is what it means. And I just was listening to it and I was like, wow, that actually resonates with me. I kind of get that, you know, and that's what depression is. It's just your body needing rest. And, you know, it's like, it's too much. The pressure is too much. And I feel that that's why, you know, and it's such a bummer too, when they use the word choke, you know, these athletes, he choked or she choked. It's like, they didn't choke. Like, really choke? Like, it's like the language and the things that we put on these hardworking athletes. It's just a very demanding, and it is sad too. Like if I named a gold medal and I said, okay, who got the silver? You wouldn't even know.
For the most part, true. Yeah.
Right.
Somebody posted that joke the other day, a friend of mine on social media, and I said, you know, here I am sitting here wolfing down potato chips, screaming, "Run faster! You're terrible! Look at you!" And like, you know, you can never even get off your couch. You're there eating and picking at somebody else. So the level of that,
like children,
right? And you always admire
the sports thing has become very. So I have opinions about it on both sides. So, you know, like there's extreme with the mental illness and the coaching and stuff, and that's. My coaching is outdated. I mean, I don't know how it exists today, but that's how it was in the 70s and early 80s. And then today, you know, I have 3 children. They're adults now. I have a 24, 26, and 27-year-old. I had 3 in 3 years, Irish triplets. And so, you know, I put them in soccer and these sports. And so the other side of the coin is it was like, everybody gets a trophy. You showed up. Yay, you know, and I'm like, please don't baby my children.
Right,
like, I want them to learn how to fall down and get back up, but in a appropriate way. And so we have these it's like somebody that was in my generation that had the trauma that I had said, well, let's just let everybody feel loved. And like they went the complete extreme. That's not good either, because then people don't have to work for first place or second place or third place. I still skate every once in a while, and I have a girl that I call her my coach, but we skate together, and she's, you know, much younger than me, but she's a ice pair dancer. And she was saying that she was judging a competition, and after the competition was all over, one of the fathers came up to her and said, my daughter didn't get her trophy. And she said, I'm so sorry. What was she, first, second, or third? Which competition? And he said, no, she was like 7th or 8th, but she didn't get a trophy. And she's like, well, in this sport, we don't give trophies for 7th or 8th. You know, it's only 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Imagine that.
But that's the mentality right now that, you know, it's like we have these extremes. It's either, you know, this mental health, horrible coaching style, or everybody's a winner. Let's all sing Kumbaya and kick the ball.
And that drives me nuts because I grew up, my coaches were hard on me, but I played, for pretty legitimate leagues. And now my daughter's in sports and they're like, oh, girls go first. And they're just letting the kids do whatever. Meanwhile, I'm on the sidelines like, let's go. So I don't know. There has to be some kind of happy medium where they,
Yeah.
It's just, there's extremes and then it's
sports. There's a winner and there's a loser.
Right.
And that's pretty much the rule of the thing, and I think that we have to all agree that those are the rules. It's like anything in life. If you go into something and you know what the outcome is, okay, if I go in, I could either win or I could lose. And I think we have to teach kids how to lose. Because they've forgotten. I know my kids, at that age, I was blown away with just how people were so scared to let kids lose or fail or fall down. And one of the best books that came out of that, by the way, there's always good. Somebody picks it up and gets it. And a woman, I can't think of her name right now, but she wrote a book called The Blessing of a Skinned Knee. And it's so great. It's about let your kids fall down. And remember when we were little, we'd go on those monkey bars for hours and fall flat on that black concrete. And we'd come home with 2 bloody knees and elbows were all, and they don't do that anymore. Everything's padded,
Everybody from our generation has the permanent scar on the knee. That black mark, that scar that you cut over and over again,
And so she wrote this phenomenal book. It's called The Blessing of a Skinned Knee. And I read that book and I was like, thank God there's one person that I can relate to right now, because it was really hard when, my kids were born in 93, 95, and 97. And that was that time when everybody was getting ribbons. Nobody failed. Everybody's a winner. And I just didn't like that message. I thought it was really, I think it does that damage if you don't know how to fail, because when you go into business, you go into big cities like New York and Chicago, they don't care.
No.
Yeah, you're not allowed to fail. There's no pat on the butt for failing.
Your boss is not going to be like, oh, you don't feel good today? Okay. Yeah, I get it. Maybe we'll have what was that thing that everybody was doing after the election? The corner, everybody was going to the private corners, or what was it called?
I don't remember.
When Trump won and everybody needed a safe space. Or
safe space, yeah.
And I was like, really? Oh my God. What world am I living in? Like, that we can't even have an election and people are like, I need a safe space. I can't go to school today.
Oh,
my father used to tell me, when we were kids, we would lose like the baseball championship. He said, losing is good. And I'm like, how is losing good? He said, because you learn.
Yeah.
You try harder, you work at it, and you learn from mistakes, and it gives you that drive to want to win. And I look back at that now because I used to cry. We lost. I won a trophy. We lost. And he would sit me down and say, losing's good, because losing will put that memory in your brain. It'll make you stay hungry to want to win, and you learn from your mistakes. And that's the way it should be.
You have to know, you have to have some place where you go, okay, this didn't work, so now we got to go here.
Right.
And these are just building blocks to get you to, I was actually, and by the way, I have that, because of the way I trained as a young kid, I have that, where I can get very hard on myself because that's ingrained in me a little bit.
Sure.
And I was just thinking today, I was getting very I was just having a moment of like, things aren't moving quickly and I don't really feel like I'm progressing. And then I was like, okay, Deb, like really? like I have to have this talk with myself, as if I'm doing NLP on myself, okay, Deb, here's the deal.
Yeah.
You're doing really well. Here's what you've accomplished and I mean, my God, it's crazy. But I think we really do forget sometimes to just pat ourselves for small accomplishments and small things that we do.
Yeah. I mean, and I think everyone took a deep dive into what they feel about themselves this year.
Yeah, this year's
Uh,
or the last year plus especially.
yeah.
Um, Real quick, let's touch up on the book that's coming out. Aging Gracefully is a full time job, which is a really gripping title. I love it. You seem like you're aging gracefully. You got a lot of great accomplishments in your life. Tell us a little something about the book and when we can expect it and what's it all
So
about.
yep. So everything will be coming out next year. The first book I'm publishing is a book called Son of a Basque, and that is historical fiction. It's based on my grandfather's life. He was from the Basque Country in Spain, and when I read the book, I read it twice, and I a lot of the stuff in the book I did not know about my grandfather. He served in 3 wars for the United States. The World War II, he was a tail gunner, Korean War and Vietnam. And when he went into the Army Corps during World War II, they wanted him to be in a special, Hispanic, non-English speaking kind of group and do
Wow.
this stuff. And he really wanted to fight in the war. And so he worked really hard to fight as a US citizen. And so when I read all this, I had no idea. I knew that he met my grandmother in England and she was a war bride. I knew that because my mother was born in England, so I'm part British. And I knew like the basic stories, but I didn't know all the details. And so when I read the book, I couldn't believe it. And I thought this has to be a movie. And so that's the first book I'm publishing. And that is again, historical fiction based on my grandfather's life. And then
Excellent.
Aging Gracefully is a full-time job. The reason it's so funny, I am 57 and I have people ask me all the time. I have people that are shocked that I have 3 adult children, let alone 3 children. And so they go, "What is your secret?" And I'm like, "I got to write a book." Because
The cover
it's
here, the
yeah.
cover's phenomenal. That's a tremendous picture. It's just a great scene. I'm already intrigued to read it. It looks great, and I'm not even a
Thank
reader. I
you.
want to read it. It sounds great. Just
Thank
reading
you.
what you read
Yeah,
out.
it's really about inner beauty is really what the book's about, because I have worked really hard to do things throughout my life that come from inner beauty. And have I done Botox? Yeah. Have I tried laser stuff? Yeah. But I really am trying to avoid doing any type of surgery or
Sure.
anything that's really
Reconstructive, I
where
guess.
they have
Yeah.
to knock me out. Anything like
Yeah.
that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And the older I get, the less I want to do, which is interesting. I was really like in my 40s, like, oh, I got to keep up with everything. And then, but the older I get, the less I want to do. And the more I just want to just like let it all happen gracefully. And I really say that too as partly joking, because I think as we get older, there's a lot more things that we really should be doing to age gracefully. So, it becomes really apparent when we get to a midlife part of our life that, the things that we're eating and putting in, and, there's so much talk around
Yeah.
gut health now than ever before. And that all really, everything starts in the gut. So there's a lot of stuff about gut health, and I'm a huge proponent of that. Yoga became a huge part of my life in 1995. And I think I attribute a lot of how I've aged to yoga, to the workouts that I've chosen to do, and also the workouts that I've backed off of. So, I don't do anything that stresses my body anymore at my age. Now it's all about, I want to just be in nature and walk and break a sweat, but I don't need to do anything that stresses my body, because you'll see like athletes that as they get older, they're the ones that can kind of get more wrinkles and more sunspots and things because they're out in the sun and they're working so hard and they're stressing. That kind of shows up, on runners and stuff,
Sure.
And they build that muscle mass and then it falls and it's just all around
So I'm
stressful.
really careful about that. I'm also really careful that now I can't do the things that I did. Not that I don't believe that I can. It's just that I don't want to get injured. I'm
Right.
really careful about, I really don't want to have any reason to have a surgery. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. So I don't live in fear about it, but that's just also in the back of my mind. Like, is this going to serve me? going into my 60s and, going into my 70s. And so I'm really careful about that. The reason I say it becomes a full-time job is because I find myself, and that's what it came to me one day, because I found myself, I woke up, I go to the chiropractor, I go get acupuncture, I go get a vitamin IV, I'll get an oxygen facial, I'll go do my walk or my yoga, or then I'm very concerned about, okay, did I get a collagen drink in? Did I drink 8 ounces of water? And I'm like, oh my God, this aging thing is fucking a full-time job.
It really is.
And so that's what, where the title comes from. It's like, because it really does become a full-time job, because we really do start thinking about it like, well, and now today, oh my God, the opportunities and the things that are available to us, the things that we can do to age gracefully now, it's so amazing. We don't have to go into some surgery or,
No.
we don't have to. There's so many things that can be done non-invasively.
Even makeup.
Even makeup. And, when I was little, I used to watch my grandmother, and like the women that were like in their 40s and 50s just seemed so old to me.
Yeah.
And they would do all that makeup. Remember, like all the CoverGirl and the red lipstick. And I think they looked older.
Yeah.
Because of all that stuff they were applying. So, and that's the other thing, like what I put on my skin can really age it too. So, because there's so many toxins and things out there, and you have to be really careful. So I'm real careful about the makeup, and just most of the time I'm not even wearing makeup now, because that I think I look older when I have makeup on.
You look
possibly
beautiful.
For the folks out there, definitely check out the social media stuff, www.deborah.driggs.com, Instagram at Deborah Driggs, and also Wild Child Radio. So check out that
every Sunday night
show as well. Every Sunday night,
we go
10
live.
o'clock.
We go live.
Check it out, because it's definitely great, and I know we love it. We absolutely possibly want to invite you back.
Yay,
because there's so much stuff
you.
that we want to talk about, and we usually don't like to keep our guests too long, so we'd like to bring you back with us. Before we go, again, I got to thank you so very much. Also want to give a shout out to Sherry Nelson.
Thank you.
She wanted me to share this. There's a feature in the magazine Nashville Women in Film and Television, and there's a great article by Sherry Nelson about Deborah and her story. It is a fantastic read. I read it twice today to make sure both of my favorite ladies now.
I haven't even read it yet.
It's
great.
My God. I love it. So I had to read it to make sure I was up to date for you two amazing women. Deborah, you're lovely. I cannot thank you enough. We will talk to you very soon. I'll contact you on social media. We'll bring you back. For now, have a great night. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Very much.
Deborah Driggs, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So great, Jules. So much. There's so much to talk about that I feel like I didn't even scratch the surface. But she's so great in telling her own story, and so much that she has done with her life. And she really didn't even touch on like the millionaires table for the insurance group, and she handles high end clients through insurance, and she talked about the movie she's got coming out. Neon Bleed is coming out soon. She's got 2 books coming out, a book that's already out, Playboy magazine, and acting and skating. I wanted to ask her what she did for her downtime, but I don't think she has downtime.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we just learned everything. But man, I mean, I could talk to her all night. That was amazing.
Absolutely. And it kind of got to, I know sometimes we get, like I said, we write, not really a script, but we write a series of questions. We start going down the line. Then we start to sidetrack a little bit. Right. And some of the guests answer our questions within questions, and it goes really well.
Well, we love that.
We love that. But tonight, it felt like it wasn't even an interview. Tonight, it felt like me, you, and her were sitting down like at a restaurant or something, and she's just telling us her life, and we're sitting there sucking it in. And to me, that's the best kind. And she's outstanding. I didn't want to cut her. We had her for almost an hour. I kind of felt bad keeping her all that time. But Sherry says she's a great talker, loves doing interviews, loves to tell her story. Phenomenal.
We appreciate you coming on so much. Thank you so much.
We definitely do. Absolutely amazing. And I saw earlier on that Roger Gardner, her partner, in the podcast. He was on as well watching. We
Oh,
appreciate you
cool.
watching. So remember us. Tell your friends, and we'll
Yeah.
share. And vice versa. Absolutely great. Deborah Driggs. I still can't believe Jewel to this day. I mean, it's funny because she mentioned, and you mentioned the famous magazine cover. I know sometimes people don't want to hear the guy's name, so I don't say it. But she pointed it out, and I always thought that was her. I really
Yeah.
did.
No,
Yeah, I
I
always
did
thought that was
too.
her. And I've seen the magazines. I think I had them for the longest time, and it's amazing seeing the models of the magazine in person, and like so many things that she's done, just incredible.
Did I ever tell you about the Playboy collection I had?
No, I had a decent sized one myself that we fell to the trash can, but by all means, please tell us.
No, so I move into my house. This was like 5 years ago. I move into this house, and the guy's like, "Listen, I have a box of Playboys in the attic. Like, you could take what you want, you could do with them, but there's a lot of like probably worth money like in there.
Yeah,
You should take a look."
sure.
So I was like, "Oh yeah, I always watch Girl Next Door. I love Kendra. I love Holly and Bridget. They were just fun. They had great parties and
Yeah.
they had all these costumes. I'm like, it was an entertaining ass show. and half like Hugh Hefner, like, he wasn't a pervert or anything. He was just a businessman, and he was smart, and he knew how to make a great magazine. So I don't know. I like Playboy. And so I was looking through them, and it was Sally Field and Burt Reynolds. It was
Yeah.
Anna Nicole Smith, Pam Anderson, like all of these amazing. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Like,
Right.
this is probably worth so much money. I'm going to keep it in great condition and it was kind of in like a crawl space in my house, and my house was like a bungalow. And then I had people look at it like, whoa, like, you really got a gold
Yeah.
mine on your hands. I'm like, I know, right? So a storm came.
Oh.
The literal roof blew off and flooded all of the huge box. I mean, it was a huge box of them, like probably 100 magazines. I was so upset. I'm like, there was like Christmas editions and collector's piece. I'm like, I cannot believe they all got destroyed. I was highly upset.
I had no idea. If I would have known that you had that collection, I would have done a top 5 Playboy Playmate thing. I really would have, because look, like you said, it's tasteful. It's a beautiful depiction of the female body. It's not
Yeah,
trashy.
it's not like Hustler.
There's trashy out there, and I always like them. And I was the same way. Like the German figure skater, Katharina Witt was in it, and I got that. And I can't remember names. Christy Swanson, Latoya Jackson. Like, I would get the popular ones. The wrestler China was in it. Like, the popular names and the famous people, I always got them. Out of intrigue what they look like naked, of course. But again, for the collector's aspect, and I had a ton of them. Pam Anderson, of course. Jessica Hahn. I mean, it went on and on and on. And then they...
the Sally Field one blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow. They had an untimely death, unfortunately. But,
really?
Yeah. And like I said before,
problem with print.
Yeah, exactly. Like Erica Leniak, like, I still can't believe I even got her to come on and talk. I tried to get her on the video version. Still haven't heard back from her. I'd love to talk to her again.
I know, because I didn't get a chance to talk to her.
I know you were out that day. She's great, but had a lot to say about the way Hollywood depicted her for being in the magazine, and then she credited Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey for kind of protecting her on the set of that movie Under Siege. She does a naked scene. And she's like, there's like 100 people there, maybe 10 belong, and they were like, let's go, break it up. Like, if you're not on this scene or working the equipment, get out. And that's it's the right thing to do.
That is good. I mean, someone has to step in. She just mentioned that documentary, The Athlete A. Like, it's amazing how no one steps in at times, or didn't. Like, now I think people are learning, like, if you see something, say something. Like, what the hell? Especially these young athletes. It was so tragic. That was a crazy documentary.
Agreed, and check it out. The of course, Deborah Driggs, our special guest. Let's rapid fire some stuff. Let's argue real quick.
Okay.
Let's Argue tonight came with the top songs of 1984. Which I love. To me, this is great. Some people are like, I wasn't even born yet. Like, I don't care. Like, you don't know these songs.
I wasn't born.
I know, but you still answered like right away.
Yeah, because I know all the songs.
Careless Whisper by
Don't live under a rock.
I Just Called to Say I Love You by Stevie Wonder. Radio Gaga by Queen. Like a Virgin Madonna. What's Love Got to Do with It? Tina Turner. Thriller by Michael Jackson. Dancing in the Dark by Bruce Springsteen, featuring Courtney Cox in the video. When Doves Cry and Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. Fun list. We got our results. We'll do it quickly.
Okay.
I won't drag out like I always do. Last one, the least votes went for I Just Called to Say I Love You. 2 of them for Stevie. Yeah. What's Love Got to Do with It by Tina Turner? 3.
That's up there for me.
That was like the rebirth of Tina Turner. And I found her sexy still. She was like in her 60s.
Oh my
the
God.
legs and man, I thought she was
She's
sexy.
amazing.
She is.
Love Tina.
Like a Virgin was next with 4. Yeah. Back then it was so groundbreaking.
There's
for
so
her to
many
say, Like a
other
Virgin.
great. Yeah, there's just so many other
Yeah.
great Madonna songs that just falls by the wayside.
A real piece of trash next with 6 votes. The awful Dancing in the Dark.
Get out of here.
I'm kidding. I know you're a Springsteen fan. But yeah, the whole Courtney Cox thing in the video, bring her on stage, and people look later like, oh my God, it's like Courtney Cox in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like the rebirth of Bruce, like that album. Like that was like a big deal. Dancing Dark and the video and all was big for him back then.
Mm-hmm.
Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time, 7 votes. Good song. I was a Cyndi fan. I think I'm more of a Cyndi fan now.
I don't really like that song.
No? It's not one of her best.
No, it's not.
Again, there's She Bop, which is about masturbation. So yeah, you take what you can get. Up next, one of my all-time favorite performers, Prince, When Doves Cry.
All right.
And another one of my all-time favorite artists. It's amazing because all these people are dead. George Michael's Careless Whispers.
Mm-hmm.
Song that I love. Our Troy David Henderson. That was his pick.
Yeah, again, there's so many other great George Michael songs. Like, wouldn't be my job.
There is. He's got a terrific collection.
Teacher, I think, is my favorite.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's Thriller finished second, 14. Surprising because, like, as one of the people that answered said, Thriller and Michael Jackson was everything. Everything in that time. Like, everything was Michael Jackson.
It kind of was. Like, that was like the dance you had to know. You had to watch a video, like, all the time. It was it.
And everything, Michael Jackson was everywhere. Number 1, for once, I actually picked the top pick, and one of my all-time favorite bands, and actually one of my all-time favorite songs, and I love the live version from Live Aid. It's Radio Gaga, Queen, 22 big votes. It makes me happy. I actually got the number 1 answer for a change.
For a change.
Doesn't happen often. Our Let's Argue segment, as you know, we do it every night here on the Yo Show. Jewel, real quick, you see my massive collection of Funko Pops.
No.
And as you know, and as you know, in October we're having the Guinness Book of World Record holder for the most Funko Pops, Paul Scardino, on our program. Within a few weeks, we are going to be doing a contest, which I'm going to plaster all over Paul's Facebook group page for Funko Poppers. We're going to be giving away mystery Grail Pops, unknown. The contents will be unknown. It'll be mailed to me, and one lucky winner each week will get to pick right here on the show.
Ooh, I went out and they did this thing where it's the same thing. They give out, you pay a certain price, like $3, and you get a mystery beer. How fun is that?
I'd like that. That's very cool. And I kind of like the mystery Grail thing. And my buddy Christian turned me on it. We start talking because he kicks ideas, and he's like, look, go to the mystery Grail site. You pay, I think, $15 and they send you whatever. Nobody knows what it is. So what I'm figuring to do is order 2.
Ah.
And whoever is the lucky drawn person picks 1 or 2. They get the one they pick. I get the other one. Everybody wins. it's kind of like a
Jeff's
hot-
totally going to look and pick his favorite.
Jeff absolutely positive will not look. I mean, they come sealed, and they're going to come sealed. You're going to see them sealed the way they come delivered. It's coming up in a few weeks.
They don't have to be unsealed to see who they are. It's not like a surprise doll.
Well, the mystery grow is you don't know what you're getting, so we're gonna like unveil it that night. Like
I, for one, as a parent, am so sick of surprise dolls and not getting the thing that my kid wants in the surprise.
Big thing right now. I collected the WWE ones, and then I realized one day I walked into a Five Below and everybody was opening them, so I started opening.
I did it one time. I opened them, and you know what? I don't even care because how much money am I going to spend to get the one I want? Correct? Do you like surprise dolls? Right?
She also likes dancing and sitting there in silence.
Yeah. All right. Say our intro.
Make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you want some merch, just ask us.
Good job. Nice t-shirt.
And also, if you don't subscribe, I will steal all your Pringles. Wait, I just bought a whole.
You just bought Pringles. What are you doing?
I want more Pringles. I eat the Pringles too quick.
She's very serious about you liking and subscribing, so she will come to your house.
I love my snacks how I love my mom.
That's pretty serious. The lovely Miss Joey, our weekly like and subscribe YouTube spokesmodel. Don't forget you can find.
And make sure to subscribe to my channel.
Yes, while you're there, there's a terrific video of I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Adventures.
Yeah. All right, cool. Brush your teeth, get ready for bed. Love you.
Love you
Brush your
too.
teeth, get ready for bed. All right, let's crank out some topics now. Let's Argue's done. We're going to skip Man Cave Scores because I've got so many new things here. Like we don't have enough time. I also like doing the pictures. So, of course, we spoke about Miss Simone Biles. There she is. Ends up with a bronze medal as she finally performs in one of the events. What do you think? Bronze medal, good enough? You think she's happy? You think she feels better being a little more mentally prepared? And
I don't think she has to prove shit. I think she is who I want my daughter to look up to. I love Simone. I've just watched a documentary and all the shit she went through, and she doesn't owe anyone anything. You know, I never saw her compete until this week, and the thing she does, like this girl does three what the hell is it called? 3 spins while everyone else does 2. Like she is a phenom. And she just gave Suni that leg up she needed to get the goal. Like, come on. She's great. And yeah, I think she's hella happy with the bronze and just she did a big thing this year.
I get stuck on both sides of the fence. Originally you're like, oh, like how can you get that far and then bail out? But then you hear like, look, in my head I wasn't right. She's got a little something that's called like the twisties. I remember guys in baseball had it. There was a player for the Dodgers, Steve Sachs, played second base. Couldn't throw the ball to first. Forgot how. Would throw it in the seats. A catcher, Mackie Sasser. He didn't know how to catch the ball and throw it back to the mound. Like you just get that block.
It happened to me. Yeah, I completely lost my throw. I made varsity as a freshman for an all-girls Catholic academy, which was a big deal. And I go and hurt my arm. I come back. I couldn't throw to my freaking neighbor. Like it happens. And when it happens, you have to just realize it and stop. And I think she did the right thing.
Yeah. And she ended up, like I said, ends up with a medal. And people are like, oh, but she took somebody else's spot. Hey, if somebody else wanted to go in her place, beat her in the qualifiers, then you'll get that spot and she won't have it.
Yeah. That's why they have alternates. Like it's just, they don't have those crazy coaches like they did before and the freaking disgusting medical staff and the Carolis and everything. You know how abusive the Carolis were?
Oh my God.
They were treated like, oh, look at this. Oh, he's like a father to Carrie Strug and he's carrying her off the mat. Hell no. Like Carrie Strug, she could have freaking ruined her leg for life. I mean, she won the gold, but at what cost? It was just, it's insane.
And like Deborah said, back then it was, go out there, like get out there, like go get it. Yeah, so.
I mean, that's how we grew up too. I mean, I grew up, I was a kid in the 90s, but like I grew up the same way. My coaches were hard as shit on me. And I was harder on myself because my coaches were hard on me and my parents were hard on me, but it made me want to like make them proud. I was never in an abusive situation, thank the Lord, but like, it could easily happen. And I'm just glad that people know better now.
Absolutely. Scarlett Johansson, one of my favorites. I absolutely love her. But anyway, she is taking Disney to court. Apparently, there was a lawsuit over the promotion of the Black Widow movie. And Johansson claims more or less that Disney pushed the movie so hard for home viewing that the theater sales struggled immensely. She felt she was extremely shortchanged. She's actually paid on a percentage of ticket sales, and now she says she's losing a ton of money. And a lot of the Marvel stars or former co-stars had a whole lot of nothing to say. Nobody really backed her up. She's going at it anyway. Who's right in this instance? I for one, I kind of take Johansson's side here.
I do too, because she went from making, I don't know the exact numbers, but it was something like $20 million where it could have been like $500 million. It was something insane like that kind of a jump. So, hell yeah, I would sue for that kind of money too if it was owed to you. Like they lied to her, just like they lied to Emma Stone apparently, because Cruella came out on Disney Plus and it wasn't supposed to. It was just supposed to be a theatrical release. So I think no, that's bullshit. If you sign a contract and you have meetings about this shit and then they do that to you, it's so wrong.
You have obligations, and I am not a fan of the HBO Max and the Disney Plus and all that. Let people go out to the theater. People got to get out of the house and learn how to socialize besides looking. And don't get me wrong, we're here speaking to people. You can watch us on a replay. But, go out and go to the theater and enjoy a little something and get some popcorn and make a night of it and watch a movie. Everybody's just sitting home now. Everything's all about sitting home. Get out of the house. Because you know what? If there is another lockdown, God forbid, with the Delta variant, people are going to say, oh, I want to get out of the house. Do it now when you have a chance. Get out of the goddamn house.
Well, I know I have family that worked in very higher up positions for a movie chain, and it was just like nothing was happening. Yeah. So it's just crazy what happened to that. But even now, like I want to go to the movies. Like, I'm sorry. I took her to see a couple Disney movies in the theaters, but now I'm like, I don't know. Is it even worth it? Like by the time you get done, it's like $50 with all the snacks and everything just for me and her, like just for an adult ticket and a kid ticket where I could just sit at home, buy some popcorn. I mean, I do love the movies. Don't get me wrong, but like
I like the theater. Something about going to the actual theater. But I get it. I mean, it's nice to sit home and see brand new releases. But sometimes just getting out of the house and doing something different.
It also depends on the movie. Like I like to see the big blockbusters in the theater with the surround sound and everything.
Right. Like if I'm going to see, and Black Widow is a great example. If I'm going to see a Marvel movie, I like that. In the movie theater, not to say in my home. Like I want to be moved.
I hear you.
So good luck, Scarlett Johansson, whose career might very well be in jeopardy. There's no look at her face because I love her face. But I mean that's a tough battle she's got ahead of her.
Yeah, that wasn't pennies she was fighting for. That was a lot of money.
I know exactly. Speaking of money and playing and possibly ruining your career financially, NHL hockey player Evander Kane is in some pretty hot water. His estranged wife claims that Kane has been betting on games that he participated in and has altered the endings and final scores. Sure.
Wow.
You don't have to be a sports expert to know how ugly this is. What's your take on this rather awful alleged situation?
That's so messed up.
Right?
Jesus Christ. I don't even know. Like
the guy who comes to mind is Pete Rose. Now, Pete Rose is one of the most legendary baseball players of all time, the all-time hits leader. And he will never sniff the Hall of Fame. And they said in his lifetime, he will not be alive to even know if he ever gets in the Hall of Fame.
Do people learn? Do they learn? Like, how do they think they're not going to get found? And by your ex, like, that's so freaking embarrassing.
Right. She's cute, too. She's like, yeah, he bet on games. Like, just like, he's like, yeah, he bet on games. He's like, what? Yeah. and now he's backtracking and said it didn't happen.
How
And the
did he
league,
prove that?
I don't know. I assume there could be any. There could be phone calls. There could be notes left. There could be anything.
Text,
And
whatever. You can show text in court.
yeah, exactly. Bookies. There could be a number of things.
Sheesh.
And now Kane is in pretty hot water. And it's a shame, too, because Kane was one of the big advocates of the African-American player, and they rallied around him, with the Black Lives Matter thing and all that, and black players in the NHL. And he was like one of the big guys who they rallied behind, and now he's in some deep crap. So
Don't do shady shit.
That. Don't do shady shit. It's the lesson you learn here on the Yo Show. Deborah said she wanted to learn something from us tonight. That's it. Don't do shady shit. And pay money for the better equipment. New sound card coming soon. Coachella 2022 is coming up. Jewel Tatey. One of these years, I'd like to get to a Coachella.
Oh my God!
Look at that picture. Is that gorgeous? Look at that.
I couldn't believe the mountains when I was out there. I'm like, there's just mountains are so big and beautiful.
Amusement park and everything. The first two bands have been named for the 2022 version, and once I scroll up, I'll remember it because I got my notes all mixed up here. Oy vey.
Travis Scott. It
is Travis Scott and Rage Against the Machine. All right, thank you very much. Travis Scott, Rage Against the Machine announced for 2022. Is a Coachella ever in your future, Joel TV?
God, I hope so.
All right. I'm getting kind of old for Coachella, but man.
I don't care. Lana was always a staple at it, and you see the girls in their flower crowns, and for as much as I love music, I've never been to a music festival. Isn't that sad?
The closest I've come are some of the fest. I've been to Ozfest. I've been to Crew Fest. This year, I was really bucking on the MMRBQ. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I love multiple band concerts. Ozfests were always great. I mean, one year the lineup was incredible. One year they had Disturbed and Korn and Marilyn Manson and of course Ozzy, and to me that's a night out right there.
Yeah, no, that's freaking awesome. Again, MMRBQ, Dirty Honey. It's in September. Let's try to make it happen.
Let's definitely try to make it happen. Like I said, the Korn show's coming, and I know you said you're interested. I'm still interested. Slipknot, you got to find concert people. I love me some concerts. There's certain concerts my wife will not go to.
Not the Hard Rock?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe?
Depends. Speaking of concerts, and this is a concert. This is a band we saw in concert in the past, and she would do this again. But Mr. Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit has come out with a new look. Have you seen this new look?
No, I haven't. I was hoping you were going to show me. Because
this is talk about giving up. Like Fred's giving up. This is the new Fred Durst.
Oh, come on. Are you serious? Is that Jamie Kennedy in disguise?
It looks like Jamie Kennedy. The handlebar mustache. They said, look at the dad. Like it's like a whole new dad persona. He's got a dad's hairdo and he's got these horrible looking khaki pants that your grandpa would wear, and what the hell is this?
Dude, Eminem should rap about this.
This was a guy who about a year or two ago had a beautiful gray beard. I know gray, but a big gray beard, and he still had the Yankee hat. I'm like, I forgot Fred looking kind of tough. Now he looks like that neighbor who's always
first of all, that's
kick your dog.
That's not his hair, right? That's a wig because he's bald.
Right, I assume it's a wig.
He's bald.
Right. I don't know if he shaves it or he's actually bald. I think he's bald.
Oh, so much to say.
I thought Wes Borland always looked bad. He looks worse than Wes now.
You have this newfound 90s nostalgia, all these people that just want to love on your music and everything, and you're gonna go and do this, you asshole. What people would do to be in your position.
This. And I saw him in concert several years ago, as they kind of fell out of mainstream. And I thought it was a great show, and they didn't do Nookie because they didn't want to be all commercialized. They go, well, you got to do Nookie.
No, don't do your best song. It's fine.
Well, I kind of get it. The show was good, but yeah, Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's oh, Jesus Christ.
What was the other song that I like? Move in, move out.
Rolling. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling,
I used to
rolling.
have the backwards cap.
Yeah, we all did. I was a
Mhm.
big fan of Limp Bizkit's music. It's kind of a shame that they fizzled away.
And then it was a
Another,
corn remix, right? It was a
yeah, there was no, there was a Rolling remix with it was DMX, Redman,
DMX.
Method Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's going on my playlist.
yeah, that was I'm actually
Yes.
gonna.
Yes.
I think it's Urban Assault remix, but I'm gonna look it up real quick.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Is that it? Urban Assault remix? It's something
I
like
don't know.
that. No,
You know what happened to me? I lost, you know how I have Napster because I have Android and I don't care. Don't come after me. But I lost all of my songs. Me.
oh,
Could you imagine? I know.
dude,
So
I would die. I really
I
would.
had to like start all over from scratch. But now I'm like, it's an exciting challenge. I'm like, all right, I could do this. Like I'll just go through stages of my life and compile my playlist.
My best moments,
Hmm.
my sad moments.
I know. Now it's all like sad songs. I'm like, shit.
I know, man.
Where's my happy stuff?
You're all stuck in your feels and you revamp your music.
Ugh.
Last week we lost former Slipknot member drummer Joey Jordison. A couple days ago, another rock legend, ZZ Top guitarist Dusty Hill. Rest in peace. Bass player Dusty Hill passed away, 72 years old. They actually, now they're on tour, so they did go out and play with a replacement. And Billy Gibbons had mentioned that Dusty played for years in a lot of pain, and he stuck it out for the good of the band. And ZZ Top just legendary. Of course, the big beards, man, you can't deny that. Just an awesome band. And of course, Dusty, rest in peace. It's tough. I never got to see ZZ Top in person. Were you a fan of ZZ Top at all?
No.
Eh,
I just, wasn't my jam.
they got some tunes. It's definitely more of a guy band for some
Mhm.
reason. I don't really know why, but I guess it's it's that kind of sound. But I was always a fan. I never got to see them live, and that
Iggy Pop, I was a fan of.
I like Iggy Pop,
Mhm.
Lust for Life, and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
Whew. So, well, somehow we managed with 12 minutes to go, and
We talked pretty fast. Yeah.
we did.
Find it out.
I'm very proud of us tonight.
I think we were efficient.
We're going to take a look what's coming up in the next few weeks because I love doing what's coming up. And next week, ladies and gentlemen, I better make sure I practice all week because next week's show, no offense to anybody else who's ever been on the show, next week has to be fantastic because our guest next Tuesday, 8 o'clock, the beautiful, the talented Miss Madeline Zima comes back to the Yo Show. Yes! Madeline Zima on the Yo Show, Jewel. And you know the best part? Tomorrow, I get to text her and remind her. Yay.
You lucky dog.
Oh, I absolutely love her. I think she's adorable. Of course, you remember as little Gracie on The Nanny. And then since just a ton of hits, Californication. And, oh my God, I keep drawing blanks on the names of things. And I'm getting old.
Twin Peaks, Hacks.
Thank you, Hacks.
That new thriller on Netflix. I'm trying to think of the name. Prescription. There's a new thriller on Netflix. She stars in it. But Hacks is the big show out now.
I got to do a lot of homework. So cute. Absolutely love her. So excited. She was with us once before. She'll be with us again. My man, Steve Giordano in the house, said he knows where he's going to be August 10th. That's right, dude. Madeline Zima. Gorgeous. And she's a great interview, too. And last time was audio. This time it's audio and video. And I am really going to look stupid.
We owe her a great deal of debt.
We do. I'm going to be stuttering over my words. I'm going to look like a fool. You thought it was bad tonight. Wait till you see. See, it's kind of like the lead-in. You think I was bad tonight. We see how bad I am next week. Good stuff. So that is next week. August 17th, excellent singer, lovely young lady, Christy Poland will be our very special guest. My pictures are all out of whack. There she is. Christy Poland will be on our program on the 17th. Love musicians. Love learning and discovering new music. So I can't wait for that one. Jewel, we ended up with a double header on August 24th. We got two amazing guests, two superstar ladies, and they're both going to be here on our program. And it is the amazing lead singer of the band Infected Rain, Lena Scissorhands. She'll be on the first part of our program. Let me get the picture, because I actually made a double whammy picture. It's a great one. There is Lena Scissorhands. And later in the program, we will talk to one of our favorite podcasters with her new program, Ascend and Conquer, coming up, Tina Marie Trimpert. A double header. Jewel, it is going to be me and three gorgeous women on the 24th. You, Lena, Tina. I hardly deserve this, but I'll be here for it.
That's some beautifulness right there.
It is some beautifulness, and I love Lena. She is badass. August 31st, singer Dondi comes on our program. Again, we're not sure which Dondi, so I certainly do not want to post the wrong picture. Oh, boy. The roof blowing off story still has me in tears.
Faulkner?
The roof blowing off?
What roof?
I get old, I forget. Rehash me, please. September 8th, singer and songwriter local, the lovely Laura Cheadle in our program. Very excited for that. Pictures. God, I'm so out of whack. My pictures are all over the place. There she is, Laura Cheadle.
Oh, the Playboy thing. I know. I mean, come on. My version.
I thought he meant tears like he was laughing. The tears crying. I'm absolutely crying. That's a heartbreak.
I know.
The Playboy. What a great Playboy. Oh, man. Oh, you beautiful ladies down the wash. September 8th, another beautiful lady, Laura Cheadle. September 15th, I'm very excied for this. Cellist Sarah Chaffee will be in our program. And Sarah's been on tour with some of the biggins, one of those being Aerosmith. And definitely want to talk about that. I love stories about rock legends and people who get to play with some of the legends of rock. Sarah Chaffee will be in our program on the 15th, and we will talk about all that great stuff and our tour with Aerosmith, etc. Looks like we skipped down the line a little bit. We have a couple to be decideds, and we'll get to them. But October 13th, Jewel, you know I'm excited for this one. The man who holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest Funko Pop collection. Look at that collection. Look at the magazine. Look at that book. It's the one and only Mr. Paul Scardino. He's going to be on the show. We're going to be talking Funko Pops, Jewel. Get your Funko Pops ready. Come get this Homelander one before that, so you got that for your program. We're going to talk about my collection. We're certainly going to talk about Paul's. Takes him out of the box and all. What a great collection. I'm very jealous. We have one more to announce. October 20th. The lovely Margarita Monet, ladies and gentlemen, from the band Edge of Paradise. Very excited for this. I love Edge of Paradise. Been following them on social media for a while. And always wanted to get them on. And finally reached out to Margarita, and she said, hey, that sounds awesome. So it's going to be awesome. October 20th. In the meanwhile, we are working on a couple open dates. We still have some people lined up for November. Tiffany Mosher lined us up with some awesome authors that want to come on the program and talk with us. We got more musicians and actors and actresses on the fence. We're trying to work everybody in. We're pretty booked up for a while, but that's what we do here. We like being booked up. We love bringing you the best of the best. And
well into October, we're booked up. So
yeah, we're booked up pretty solid. Pretty much to the end of October.
Notes.
Right, and we gotta keep up. I got it handwritten. I got it in my phone. I watched the replay to remember who I announced, all that good stuff. And tonight again, a huge thanks to Deborah Driggs, who was definitely like a last minute. I don't say replacement, but she was kind of a last minute replacement, and we were kind of stuck for a guest. And I took her approach and her advice, and don't take no for an answer. I'm like, let me give it a shot, and she said yes, and she was here, and she was awesome. And I look back, I keep doing we do the best of the Yo Show thing now on like Wednesdays, Thursdays. I'll post an old episode, and it reacquaints people with some of the episodes, and a lot of people watch some of the past stuff. And George, just look at some of the names and the people that have been on it. It's just been so awesome. Like we've been so blessed by just some of the greatest, possible performers, people I never thought I'd get a chance to talk to. I was looking down a list of like the likes of Hal Sparks, and Steve Howie and Erica Leniak and Bobby Brown and it goes on and on. And Nancy Valen, we watch Mayor of Easttown and Connie Giordano comes on and just great stuff like that. It's been terrific.
I know. And Deborah said that tonight. She's like, I got to talk to people around the world during the pandemic, and we did too. Like we got to sit in and still be entertained and bring the entertainment because there was literally nothing that no one had already watched. So they turned to podcasts, and it really helped us, and we loved doing it, and it really got us through and just talking to people and making sure like our people were okay, because it hit local musicians so hard, especially, and that's who we like to focus on. So it was just the highlight, I guess, of our year. So I mean, what more could you ask for except this community we've built?
I agree. It's been a wonderful community, as we say. I look back at the days in the studio, which seemed like forever ago. And when I posted when I reposted the St. Ricketts one, we had them in the studio, and Tom Nusspickle, the awesome guitarist, said, it feels like 100 years ago.
Right?
It doesn't seem like forever ago when we had a studio. We would sit there and we'd all huddle around and talk and interview, and then we go to Sweeney's afterwards and drink our faces off. And my wife even said one of the very best times, we've been together close to 10 years. So one of the best nights we ever had to get together was when you and me and Jewel and Tracy and Brienne and Troy David Hendrickson, we went out to Sweeney's and we drank and just, stuff like that is just great. And we would improv these amazing nights from a show to like Rockstar drinking and partying and then going to work hungover the next day.
Yeah, very. No, that was the best. And we'll get back there, and we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So hopefully we get back to that soon.
I agree, and I definitely, I love sitting right next to Jules. Much as I love seeing your facial reaction here, nothing beats it in person because I could feel the steam coming off you when I say something dumbass, and it just makes for great program.
And the guests, there's nothing like seeing our people perform it right in front of us. That's
I tell you what,
the biggest.
And it's a shame we had that little mechanical goof up when Mike Nappy performed because man, like my face, I watched my face as he does that song Broke. And he did it again at Broken Goblet a few weeks back, and I watched the video again. And somebody I was near was like, what is that? I'm like, that is a guy singing. He's like, can I see that? I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, that's our man Mike Nappy. He was on our program, and I wanted to share it as a best of, but the audio gets real bad near the end. It actually skips and sticks, and it's a shame because he was awesome. Like I said, having Troy in there, and he's hilarious. His body motions in person make him even funnier than he is watching him in videos.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's perfect. And so we'll get back to that. And, we love doing it here. We love this format and getting to see some of the biggest stars, like I said, face to face with people I love, like Nancy Valen. That blew me away. And even our local musicians, Moonroof, Bees, Brandon Messon. They're amazing artists who created during the pandemic, fought through the pandemic, kept at it. It's just awesome.
And, we'll get to see Jamie Kennedy. Hopefully we get some kind of in-person thing.
We're hinting
that would
at
be
it.
Amazing.
We're hinting at it. We're working at it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I would probably I'll lose my shit.
I mean, when you think about the people we didn't get on video, like we didn't get Hal Sparks on video, we didn't get Steve Howie on video, but I mean, like there's some hotties on both ends we had on the show, some female hotties I'd like to see in person. Yeah, male and female.
We didn't have any females in the studio. Oh, you had Emily.
We had Emily, right?
I wasn't there.
Yeah. Emily was our last one before we shut it down.
Yeah. Poor you.
It worked well. It was good. She was a
No, that was a great episode. I'm saying poor you because we missed out on these incredible. We have Rachel Green, Lisa Orlando. Like we got to meet all these people. Jolene Valentine. Yeah. Let's go. We got to get all these people.
Agreed.
And Sheena, you met Sheena.
I met Sheena. Yeah, I met Sheena randomly. I walked into the Chamonix Creek Brewing, And buddy of mine's like, God, it's really loud in here. And I'm like, let me see this band. I'm like, wait a minute. And I see her singing. I'm like, that's gotta be. And I walk, I'm like, it's freaking Sheena Powell.
She's kind of unmistakable. So.
Oh man, they're loud, but for me, it's a good loud. I love hard, loud music. So that was awesome.
Freaking rocks. Oh
seeing
my
her
God.
there.
Let's go. We'll go to a concert right now.
I know, right? Wish for something right now. Let's get some thank yous to the likes and loves and the people who tune in. Keith Crawford. Thank you. David Snyder, who performed at our Christmas show. Thank you. Bill Higgins, of course. We're going to do some little podcast crossover. Maria Daniels. Thank you so much, Maria, for tuning in tonight. We absolutely love you. I spoke to her today and told her she's one of our favorites. We love her. Heather Petrovia Kimball. Heather is a friend of my wife from work. Lovely young lady. Thank you for tuning in. Tiffany Mosher, of course. And we got a heart from me. I don't even know how that worked, but somehow I hearted our own episode.
I like it too.
Oh, I like it. Yay, I like my own show. You should like it too. Tell your friends. Come out every Tuesday night. Soon it'll be Wednesday night, but for now, it's every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Jewel and I do this fun little program. We have some laughs. We have some great guests. We tell some stories. It's the O Show, voted a top 50 show in the world by the Los Angeles and New York Weekly Times, a great online entertainment publication. So they can't be wrong. All right. Next week, Madeline Zima, Jeff stumbling over his words, and a whole lot of fun. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Very special thanks again to Sherry Nelson for bringing us Deborah Driggs tonight. Amazing. www.deborah.driggs.com. Check out our new book. Check her on IMDb to see films and movies. And we'll catch you all next week. For Jewel Tatey, I am Jeff the Shark, reminding everybody out there, fuck it, man. Just be good to people. That's all I got.
Yeah, be nice.
Yeah. This one's for Cassie. Cassie, if you're out there, I love you. Got faith in you. The wristband is on. Kick its ass. We'll see you next week. We'll take you out with the music of St. Ricketts, but fire cannot burn. www.stricketts.com. Is it playing, Jewel? Because I can't hear it. There you go.
Was it truly blessed and the taste of it poison deeper than you know? Kindly answer this. Was the point of it just to reach new heights of low? So I'm pulling the anchor and drifting away, blinded by reason beyond disarray. It's what fire cannot burn. It's what fire cannot burn. Wanted to embrace what it takes for it, pouring salt into the world, willing to erase what I'd lose for it, to accept what I assume. So I'm pulling the anchor and drifting away, blinded by reason beyond disarray. It's what fire cannot burn. It's what fire cannot searching for something, destined for nothing, losing composure over and over. Truly blessed if the taste of it poison deeper than you know. Kindly answer this. Was the point of it just to reach new heights of love? So I'm pulling the anchor Yes, what fire cannot, fire cannot, fire cannot burn.
Would you believe that